Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be taking the pieces out of the plaster molds that I poured yesterday. So I actually ended up pouring a handful of different molds, and so I can demonstrate how we take them apart and get them ready to be glazed and decorated. I'm going to be using a handful of different tools, not too many this time. Some different sponges that I'll use to help clean it up, and a metal rib, this little X-Acto blade, and a fettling knife, which is under here. So it's a good idea to have a nice clean space to work, but I tend to be a little bit messy, and hence the schlumpy funk style, but it tends to work okay for me. So the mold that we poured yesterday was this one, and I actually started taking it out earlier and it was a little bit still too wet, but I will re-show it to you. Sometimes the bigger they are, the longer they take to set up. But you would take the rubber bands off and go ahead and open it, and as you can see, still kind of moving around a lot. So I wouldn't want to work on it too much, but you can see it needs some cleaning, but as you can see, my thumb, it still is a little bit too wet to be working with. So we're gonna pull out another one, which is this little ginger jar. And so you can see when it comes out of the mold, you have some of the stuff that's where it's poured into. It always has more at the top because the clay is going to be shrinking as the water's being sucked out in the plaster mold. It shrinks, and that's how it's actually able to come out of the mold. But you always have some of this stuff around. So this is when your tools come in handy. You can take your fettling knife and just start scraping. I tend to just scrape that off. So see how I got rid of that pretty easily. There's this little edge. And to get a really nice clean edge, see how it's kind of ratty up there? I'm gonna take my X-Acto blade, and you can get a really nice surface using the X-Acto blade. So I'll go around that, and same thing with this. I'm gonna really clean it off. Okay, so after I use the X-Acto blade, I'm gonna use, this is a rougher kind of sponge, and they use these at Kohler. They have the different sponges, and I think this sponge in particular is actually from Kohler. I don't use this one as much. It's pretty rough, but if you have big seams that you want to clean, you can get the rough sponge. I do like this one, and see, I'm just cleaning that seam up. And as you work with casting slip, the interesting thing, the more you work with it, the more it kind of starts moving on you. So it's a good idea. You can work a little bit and then set it aside, let it set up. I'm just cleaning the top here. And then your smooth sponge is going to be the last sponge. So even the bottom, you want it to look like it's completely seamless. So here's my smooth sponge, and this, oops, your smooth sponge should be clean. Okay, get it nice. And then this ginger jar also has a lid. So with this mold, you had to pour it 2 different times. So I poured it from the top, and then I poured it from the side to make the lid. So the lid, I'm gonna take it out. And again, a lot of cleaning up to do, but just using the same tools that I used last time. And you can even just kind of rip the top off, because the way it's designed makes it easier that you can just rip and then go back and kind of clean it up using your X-Acto blade and your sponges. So I'm just just gonna clean it. So, pretty easy. These are the 2-piece molds. The 1-piece mold that I talked about yesterday, this is a mold that I made, just throwing on the wheel a form. So it was like an upside down cup, and then I just put like a can or a bucket upside down and filled it with plaster to make this mold. But you can see you can get a really nice thin cup that can then be carved. I'll clean this up, and same thing. Clean it up, and then I typically will set it aside for a little bit. And that's the thing I think with clay, is just being aware of where it is in the stage of drying or whatever. You just have to kind of be patient. You can't push it, especially porcelain. So the next thing I will be putting on it is just a black underglaze. I cover the whole surface, and I can show that demonstration next time. So thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.